I love the Flight Factor 767. So I got the ortho for X-plane for the overlays, and that's what you're currently looking at right now. And I seem to have a habit of flying up and down the East Coast, so that's primarily the ones that I have currently downloaded. Let's see, top of descent is in 100 nautical miles. So, in about another 12 minutes, we will begin our descent into Atlanta, which is pretty crazy. I like flying into Atlanta because you can literally watch other airplanes fly in with you. Now, the one thing I haven't figured out about global traffic is how to schedule so that you don't come in at the same time as another aircraft, which I would love to see Traffic Global incorporate a flight plan so that there's no mixes when coming in for an approach. Hey, welcome to the channel. We'll be starting our descent here in the next 12 minutes into the beautiful Atlanta airport. Just one of the busiest in the world besides London Heathrow. And let's go ahead and check the pressure for our approach. See, right now weather is reporting altitude of 3048. So we'll just keep that in mind. Actually, we're supposed to set that back to standard once we reached transition. A little late now. I love ortho for X-plane. This is a beautiful aircraft. Let's see. What's our current heading? 260. Hopefully our crosswind is not too bad coming into Atlanta today. I really wish the seasons and weather were modeled a little bit better for X-Plane. That's one of the more exciting things that I'm happy about when FS 2020 comes around. I really wish I could have been a part of the alpha. Well, welcome, first of all. The controls, this is a very complex airplane, but control-wise, I think it's a very easy airplane to handle. Since it's so big, it really, it's like flying a brick. So it's very slow moving. It can be fast at times, but not really. Um, Inputs, especially in weather, is very easy. Um, the only thing that gets tricky about it is when you're landing in a crosswind, but overall, 9 out of 10 for an entire airplane. Let's see, looks like we got about another top of descent. If I'm reading this right, we have 7 minutes left before we just start our descent. But overall, I mean, I love this airplane. It's one of the best ones that I have for X-Plane, besides the TBM 900. That has got to be like my favorite small general aviation. I really wish I could fly in one in real life just to compare, because they done really well models for both of these aircrafts. The one thing I would change is to see a general breakdown of the 767 with dynamic maintenance and, you know, things of that you know, type of things like the TBM 900 has. It has a very well coded airplane. So the maintenance schedule, I mean, how stuff dynamically changes with the airplane as you put wear and tear on it. That's one thing that the 767 doesn't have, but it it excels in the rest of the areas that, you know, there's just one thing you can overlook. By the way, is this too loud? I'm trying to get a gauge of what it sounds like on the other end. As of right now, I do plan on, since this is one of my favorites, I will be doing more flights with the Flight Factor 767 as a part of a series for this airplane, just to, you know, make it shine a little bit more. And my other series will be focusing on the TBM 900 by Hot Start. Looks like we're getting pretty close. Pretty sure that means Skywalker, because the Sid's coming in was named Sith, and for some reason I don't know why they named it that for coming into Atlanta especially. That looks like some default scenery. See what traffic we have around us. So, looks like we got a decent amount of traffic around us, which is why I love the plugin that I have. About another 2 minutes and then we'll start our descent. Let's go back. Checklist. Okay, let's just go ahead and get landing altitude is set. ECAS messages, recall. Good. Arrival installed in FMS. Set. ILS is tuned. 110.50. Course of 95. Landing flaps is set for the VREV. Check. Decision height reference is set. Decision height of 340. Auto brake. We will put that to 3. Make sure spoilers are all set and armed. And let's go ahead and get our see.
Ladies and gentlemen, as we start our descent, please make sure your seat backs and tray tables are in their full upright position.
I really do wish their PA announcements was a little bit more like the Zebo.
Stowed underneath the seat in front of you or in the overhead bins. Please turn off all electronic devices until we are safely parked at the gate. We hope that you found our flight enjoyable. We would like to remind you that cushions and blankets are to be left in your seats. Thank you.
As you heard it. Welcome again. We're about to start our descent into Atlanta. And about another, looks about 18 miles. What I like about the Traffic Global is you can fly the same routes as 3 or 4 other aircraft just at different altitudes because the plug-in itself is modeled to fly actual routes. Says there's 172 active aircraft right now in my X-plane. And the cool thing about Traffic Global is there's no decrease in performance. See right now, let me look at the Avitab because that tells me my frames. 27. This isn't bad. Most of the time, even at busy airports, I'm running close to 40 frames per second. I just hope my reversers are working today. Had an issue with setting up the controls, and it's not just this aircraft, it happens on other aircraft too. Okay, so that means we are hitting our descent. Slowing down. And here we go. So I imagine once we get closer to the ground, it will pop up with an FMC message saying that drag is required. And that's when we'll use some spoiler. Let's go ahead and get rid of the aircraft. If you have any other questions, just let me know. That's the whole point of these videos, is to show the ins and outs of the Flight Factor 767. It is a very well designed aircraft. And I will have to say that setting the ILS for approaches is a whole lot easier, I found, than a lot of the general aviation and sometimes even the Zebo. See what our next waypoint says. We will be at flight level 28. And then we enter the SIDS and start our approach. Now there is a vector in there, and that's the only thing I can imagine that might throw off this approach, but if that happens, just set it accordingly. And I'm by far no pilot, so if I mess up, oh well, I'll try again.
Ladies and gentlemen, we would like to remind you that use of all electronic devices during descent and landing is prohibited as it may interfere with the navigational equipment.
God, I hate
Thank
this
you.
voice. Let's see. Let's go ahead and refresh the possible charts. That's one thing. Next. 3048. Go ahead and get our altitude set. Looks like we'll be possibly landing under some clouds. Actually, I'll be able to tell by reading the METAR. Okay, 020, 7 knots, 10 statute miles, so visibility is good. Few clouds at 2,600, broken at 03. Yeah, it looks pretty good. So once we get under, say, 2,700 feet, we should have good visibility. And by that time, we'll clearly have the airport in sight. Now, I just flew into Atlanta last week in real life, and man, that was a busy airport. That was the inspiration for this video. So we should be hitting the SIDS at 14,000 feet. And that's probably when we'll be prompted to slow down. She can't go over 250 knots under 10,000 feet. That is FAA rules, I believe, from everything that I've learned. And I don't believe there's any rain or anything, so the runway should be pretty dry. Let's go ahead and step through this plan one more time. Legs. Step. Sith. Z. Okay. So vectors will pretty much go right past. Let's go back. Let's go ahead and just get rid of the vectors. So that way we'll just turn right in. Execute. And it looks like our flight plan is good to go. Go ahead and get back to the map, because this is going to happen pretty quickly. One day I'll have a better flight set up, because right now I'm sitting in something I made out in my garage, because I needed something to hold my throttle and flight stick, which I will be getting the honeycomb flight yoke here pretty soon. I'll be excited to preview that. I really wish they would bring back more flight yokes and sticks that had force feedback. I can't believe that back in the early 2000s I had one for a decent price and now there's none. Let's go ahead. Checklist real quick. Descent, approach. Okay, at 10,000 feet, landing lights will come on. Seatbelts, those are already set to auto. Altimeters are already set. Okay. Everything's good to go. We just hit 18,000. And that is the transition altitude. So nothing over, I think it's 10,000, yeah. That is one of the hardest things that I've learned, or still learning, is the classes of airspace. All right. Can we see Atlanta yet? Maybe Atlanta right there. Not sure. Got another airplane passing us. They must not be going to Atlanta. That is so cool. I love this plugin. Go ahead and get our landing lights on while we have time. And everything else looks good. Air recirculation. Let's dial this in a little bit more. And we're going to be moving through the clouds. The only other clouds I think we have are at 3,000 and 2,700 feet. Let's check out our progress. Looks like we'll be landing in 11 minutes. So one thing I've noticed about X-Plane 11, it seems like the weather is getting better as far as updates. So there's a flaps chart. That's something I need to learn, is the speeds for the flaps. Today we will be landing with full flaps. So we are making the downwind turn from the airport. Okay, so we will go ahead and set first flaps to create a little drag. Atlanta is a little cloudy today, looks like. Thought there was a post of flap chart somewhere. Normally there's warning labels. Oh, it's right next. Okay, so 250. 230 is the next. Go ahead and set next flap. Go ahead and slow down a bit. Next flap limit is at 210. So once we get below 210, see, we will be at 6187. Still cloudy. And this is why you set up an ILS. And as soon as we make our turn up in the next waypoint, we'll go ahead and get the gear down. It's a good thing about the autopilot, because once you put down flaps, it automatically adjusts. It looks like the ground's becoming visible. We'll make our turn here in a minute. Gear will be down, and we will be on the ground momentarily. That's one thing. Okay. 4,600 feet. Now we can see everything. As soon as we turn around here, Atlanta should be right in front of us. Let's go ahead, get our gear down. And we don't see Atlanta at the moment, but it will show up. Once we get lined up, I'll go ahead and lower the rest of the flaps. I think we got enough drag going. Welcome to the channel. We are just about to land in Atlanta. We can see the runway right in front of us. Flaps full down. Let's see, we should be an approach. Our VREFs is 134 knots.
1,000.
I should. Angle is pretty good.
Minimum.
So that means we're at 300. Alright, autopilot.
100. 50. 40. 30. 20. 10.
Got a little bit of float going on. Alright. And we'll head to the gates. I like how they clapped. That's hilarious. Go ahead and get flaps up. Auto throttle. Whoops. looks like we'll be going into this terminal. Alright. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, that was our flight into Atlanta. Let's go ahead and check out that replay. Got a decent approach. Around 200 is when I took it off auto. As you see, there was a little bit of float here. It's a beautiful approach. Alright, thank you guys for watching. Those you did, appreciate it. Check out my next video. I should be streaming again here shortly. Thank you.